Afternoon, change makers. Really lovely to see you all again. This week's my chance to share with you my screencast, and I'm really excited to do so because it's one of my favorite platforms, and it is Zapier. So I am challenging myself to keep it to 10 minutes, so no longer than that, so that you kind of like get to the basics of Zapier without having too much detail. Zapier can become a very detailed process, complicated and confusing at times. So today I will only show you the basics. The reason why I love Zapier so much is the fact that you can integrate your favorite platforms, doing simple automated tasks. In my case, I love Wave Accounting because it's free and it's a platform that I use to manage my accounting. But then there's certain elements that I like more of at Go than I would with Wave Accounting. So, for example, Zapier allows me to, once an invoice has been generated or created in Co, it automatically generates an invoice in Wave Accounting, which helps me to track the income as it comes in. Or as someone pays me. So that's one of the reasons why I love Zapier so much. Just on the home screen, you will see all the various apps that Zapier can use to integrate with other platforms. It has a very simple search function here. Say, for instance, you would like something, say, with MailChimp, and you can scroll them down. It kind of generates the most popular apps used for MailChimp. Then as you scroll down, you'll get to this window. And this window is the important window because it tells you what triggers has been developed and what actions MailChimp can perform and the type of searches that can be done. So a trigger is something that actually triggers the task or the automation. It is that one thing that happens. So if a new subscriber would join a certain list, then that triggers a certain set of actions. And then in MailChimp, these are the actions that can be performed in MailChimp itself. Yeah, so if you would like to know how Zapier works with, I don't know, say for example, Google Calendar, just select Google Calendar. It generates a few samples of how MailChimp and Google Calendar has been used. And then below you can see exactly what the Google Calendar can do. So the type of triggers that they have, the actions it performs, and then the type of searches that can be managed. Very important before you start setting up an automation Zapier is to get through, just kind of map out what it is that you would like to happen. If you know your platforms quite well, it's a lot easier. If you don't know them that well, make use of this screen with regards to the triggers and the action. So this is my prospective client workflow that I have developed and have automated. I would say maybe 80%. There is a little bit of manual work in it for now. But then the reason why I've done this is Zapier allows me to use many free platforms to do a lot of stuff that a very expensive one-time platform would be able to do. Sorry, as soon as I said Zapier, Siri activated on my phone. Anyway, so that's the reason why I love Zapier. I use free platforms as much as possible for as long as possible without having the need to pay for many expensive platforms. So just a quick example of what Zapier allows me to do is I use JotForm on my website to capture the details of the contact details of a prospective client, and then JotForm sends me an email with a PDF attached to it and a response to the client automatically. But then that information is captured in Google Sheets. So I have a central database of all my clients, at least the prospective clients' details. And then it automatically generates a card in Asana in my prospective client project. with a specific list related to the web contact form, and then it generates the card and then a few follow-up tasks. At the same time, the client is also added to a prospective client mailing list, which is then triggered and sends out 1 or 2 emails. And then it automatically creates a customer on 10 to 8, which is the platform that I use to manage my calendars. And then at least the customer is created. So when I email or call the client to make a booking, I already have his details in 10 to 8, and I can just add them. And then by 10 to 8, it automatically sends an email and a SMS once the meeting has been confirmed. So that's just kind of like a quick idea of how I would suggest starting, at least setting up an automated workflow, as well as a workflow in general. This also allows you to create an SOP a lot easier, because you kind of like have the basic steps, and you need to know what's happening when and on what platform. Now kind of just have to write it out a little bit so that someone else will understand it. Now, the challenging part of working with Zapier and then being a virtual assistant is that it is impossible to know all of the platforms very, very well, because they're adding new platforms every day. New platforms are developed every day, so it can become quite challenging. So recently there was a request for a proposal on the Changemakers Hub regarding HubSpot and Trello. Now, for me personally, I know how Trello works, but I have no idea how HubSpot works. So what I used this screen to develop at least a basic workflow of what I think should be possible when I actually start developing the workflow. So you would enter here, HubSpot. I think it was the HubSpot regular one. And then I also entered Trello. So down here, it's generating a few examples of how HubSpot and Trello can work together. Then I used these 2 screens. Now Trello has quite a few triggers that I can use. HubSpot has 7, so all depending on what happens on which side depends whether you will be using a trigger or an action. So I kind of like took out my mind map tool, which is mind map. It's really cool. I like using it for many other reasons, but that might be a screencast all on its own. Just checking to get the example that I developed, just to kind of get a basic idea of it, and it was this mind map. So I kind of like, with the information that I had and this page, the triggers, I developed a workflow saying at least, so on the one side I had HubSpot, and on the other side I had Trello according to the brief. And in HubSpot, a certain trigger, this would be the trigger, a new list is created, and then the action in Trello would be either one of 2. It creates a Trello list with the same people's same list names in HubSpot, or it creates a card with the contact details from HubSpot, and then option 2 would be to create a card in Trello and then add the members to the Trello card. And then the same with this trigger as well. So this helped me. Should I have received the okay for the proposal, this would have been my basic starting line. This kind of helps me to map out and see what is possible and what can be done. I would at no means call me a Zapier expert. However, I love playing with Zapier, and in due time, I will also start experimenting with Integromat, which is another platform which has a few other features that Zapier doesn't, and then maybe in due time I can show you how that works. So I really hope that this screencast really helped you a little bit, just to get a basic understanding, at least for the start of use of Zapier. So I hope all goes well, and I'd like to see your comments And yeah, if this helped you in any way, or at least helped you to gain a better understanding of how Zapier works, very well.